Yeah, so sorry about that. So welcome to week 1, day 2 of Delta Platoon. Today we're going to be looking at the command line interface. So I am in iTerm, which is our preferred terminal. It lets you do a lot of things that the basic terminal cannot do. So just to start off, the number one, I don't know if it's a skill or a thing that I end up doing as a developer in my year as a developer in my 3 months at Platoon is reading the documentation. Helps you troubleshoot, helps you resolve problems, helps you learn new things. So at the basic level, like before you learn something, you should figure out where the documentation is. In the case of the command line interface, command line tools, it's all built in through man pages. So let's say we want to know what's one of the commands we used yesterday. Does someone remember? How do we change directories?
CD.
So if I want to look at what CD does, I go with man CD.
Hey, Sean,
Yes,
could you just zoom in on your terminal?
I absolutely can. Is that good?
Maybe
More?
one or two more. Is that okay for everyone? Does anyone have trouble reading that?
Okay, so CD actually, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that looks fun. That's good.
Okay. So CD, because it's a built-in system command, doesn't have a man page, but if you look at ls to list directory contents, it gives you a rundown of what the command does, the syntax for it. So these are all of your optional arguments, which are explained in more detail down here. And then you have the file or directory path that you want to look at, and you see it tells you what it does. It tells you, if you scroll down with the arrow key, it tells you what's available. Useful resource if you want to, just get a quick rundown of what something does from the terminal. So to quit, you just type a Q and then enter, and it'll take you back to your terminal. And then history, I think we all remember, is just the up arrow to get the last commands. If I want to clear the terminal, just visually clear it. You're not clearing the contents, it's clear to get back to where I was. Let's say I want to know what the current directory that I'm in. Does someone remember the syntax for that command?
PWD.
PWD, and that one's easy to remember. It's just print working directory, I think, is what it stands for. Yeah, return. And let's say I want to know who the current logged in user is. Just going to be who am I? It tells you, my username that I'm logged in on. Let's say I want to know all the files in the current directory. Just ls. If I want to know all the files, including hidden files, which you'll need a lot of times to look at Git files or your bash profile or any of the hidden system files that you might need to modify to make things work. It's just ls tac little a. And as you can see, there's a whole lot more stuff here. I've got git config, trash, VS code, CSHRC. I got my profile. And then if I want to see all the files in this directory and any other directory, it's ls/r, which there's a lot of files there. So, but that'll tell you, so the /r tells it to move recursively through the current directory and all its subdirectories. So basically it'll show you everything, everything beneath it. And so And then navigating directories is just CD for change directory. So if I want to go to my documents directory, CD documents, and then if I want to see what's in that directory, so I have a Zoom folder and a Platoon folder. Go to Platoon. And if I want to go back to the root of my file system, it's CD/. You can see now I'm back. Now I'm at the root. And then if I want to go to my home directory, I think it's just CD. And that takes me back to my home directory, which is users Sean K. So the tilde takes you back to your home directory. The / takes you to the root. And then if I want to just move down one directory, it's CD .. And you can chain as many of those as you have directories to go down. So also supports tab completion. So let's say I want to go to a directory that starts with D and just use tab to complete it. Super handy for quickly getting to where you want to go. And then if I want to open VS Code, everyone should have a code set up. So code dot will just open VS Code in the current directory. And you can see it has all of the not sure why Visual Studio Code needs access to my reminders, but I just gave it permission. So it opens VS Code in the current directory. And then if I want to open a specific file, you can just put the file name. And if you type code, it starts VS Code in a new project in the current directory. So you can open a folder to save the project in. So let's say I want to start a new project. I want to make a new directory. Who remembers the command for that?
Is it an mkdir and then the
Yep.
name?
Yep, and then the name of the directory. So we'll call it command line test. And then if I want to change that directory, let's say I make another one, CD test 1. Or should I make? Say now I don't want that command line test directory anymore. How do I get rid of it?
RM with the file name.
Yeah, so what would happen so the remove directory, what's going to happen if I try that? It's going to tell me it's not empty. So we can remove it, remove a directory that has contents in it by using the tap RF. So the R tells it to recursively remove everything from that starting point, and the F tells it to force it. So it will ignore the fact that the directory is not empty and delete it. So RM tac RF to remove a directory that's not empty. So if it has any folders or files in it, RM dir to remove an empty directory. So you're going to end up using RM tac RF a great deal more than you will the remove directory command. So you can see the directory is gone. So let's say I want to make it again. My fingers are moving faster than my brain this evening, sorry. Let's say I want to make a file. touch.txt. So that'll create a file called test.txt, which I can then open with VS Code. And then edit. And make sure you save it. And then close it. And if I print the contents to the file, or print the contents of the file to the console, we should get what I just typed in the VS Code. So the way to think about cat is it's short for concatenate. So basically what it's doing is it's taking the contents of whatever comes after the cat and it's adding them to the output to the command line. So it's concatenating them to what's called an output stream, which is basically just the flow of text that goes out to the command line. So cat will print this to the command line. Any questions? So those are the basics of basic command line commands that you're going to need to navigate around, create files, manage files. Any questions before we move into an exercise that we'll work through together? Okay, so if you're on the Delta Platoon evening and weekend curriculum page, go to Module 1, Week 1, Day 2. There is this lesson here, command line. And then slide 5, we're gonna work through this at the same time. So if everyone could open their terminal. We'll walk through step by step. Is everyone able to find this file here, the command line Google Slides? I guess a better question is anyone not able to find it?
Yeah, under my repos on GitHub, I do not see the evening and weekend. I have the self-paced, but I don't see the evening weekend.
Okay, let me take a look on GitHub to make sure you're in.
Is it Delta Platoon New? I think that's the name. With like a Tetris looking symbol.
Yes, Delta Platoon EW.
Sorry about that. Okay, I found it. I found it on GitHub.
Good. Okay, and then if you go to the curriculum repo. So if you go to, so we're in curriculum is the name of the repo, and then week 1, October 4th command line. Good.
Thanks.
Okay, so if y'all want to follow along, the first thing I'm going to do is make a folder on my desktop. So there's a couple ways to do that. I can either make dir from the root of my home directory desktop and call it command line exercise, or I can navigate to my home folder and then navigate to my desktop and make the directory from there. I'm going to do that, make command line exercise. And then inside that folder, I'm going to create a folder called exercise_1. So I'm going to change directory to command line exercise. And I'm going to make another directory called exercise1. Please stop me if you have any questions. And then inside the exercise1 folder, I'm going to use the touch command to create a folder called awesome.txt. Now we should see that folder, that text file in the folder. Okay. And so then I'm going to go back into my command line exercise folder, cd space ... And I'm going to make another folder, make another directory called exercise2. And then I'm going to navigate to that directory. And then now that I'm back in exercise2, I'm going to create two files. One of them called Mike Platoon.py. And then another one called Mike Platoon.js. And then we should see those files. Okay, so they're there. So the different formats for the file names, does it, I can't remember, does it cover those in the pre-work, or is anyone familiar with like what this is called? Like when you have the underscore to separate, or you have capital letter to separate variables.
Snake case and camel case, right?
Yeah.
They're the
Yep.
different
Yep. So this
languages.
is
Yeah.
snake case. This is camel case. It's a convention, depending upon which language you're using, which case of variable you're going to use. So you can see Python tends to be snake case and JavaScript tends to be camel case. Okay, so now I'm going to change back out of the exercise2 folder. And I'm going to delete the exercise2 folder. And the command for that is, if I want to delete a directory and all its contents, who can help me out?
rm then -rf.
Yep. So rm rf, and then I want to make sure that it's the exercise2 folder. And then we should see that we only see our exercise1. Okay, so then we want to change into our exercise1 folder. And then we want to list everything in this folder. And we see that we just have our awesome.txt file. So then we want to go back down one level, list everything here, and we see our exercise1 folder. And then we want to go back out one directory, and now we want to delete our command line, which is the same command that we used to delete the exercise2 folder, since it should be gone. Okay. So that was a little quick. What questions do you have about that exercise?
Can I please ask, the Windows system may have a little bit difference, I think.
So if you're using, are you using Windows in Cloud 9, or are you using it natively?
Not Cloud9, just yeah, just what they had, and I just use the command prompt, and when I try to type some of the thing, they say it's not recognized. So
Yeah, so the commands are going to be slightly different for Unix and Linux
okay.
than they are for Windows. I'm not familiar with the Windows command. I think when you have Omar on Thursday, or you could post in the Slack channel.
Okay, yeah, I saw the someone post the Windows one. Yeah, so I think that's gonna help a lot. Thank you.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stop this